oh, there's a homeless guy there holding a sign. Let me give him $20. It's more than that,
Right.
because what did Pete Paul say on the road
Silver and gold I have.
Right.
yeah.
So we don't have any money, but what we do have, we've been given free. We will give free to you.
I mean, there's been times I was at West Memphis Loves filling up, and this homeless gentleman come up to me, and I didn't have anything in my pocket. He didn't catch me on payday, but what I did do is give him a gospel tract. I prayed with him for a little while, and he said that meant more to him than the money. So you never know what.
Divine appointment.
Yep, you never know how you can impact others, and it's not just about money.
But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such things there is no law. But the fruit of the Spirit is love.
We remind all of our listeners that the views and opinions of the show hosts and guests appearing on Mojo 50 Radio are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of Cuddle Me Buff LLC, its owners and partners, or this network. Thank you for listening to Mojo 50 Radio.
When will your adventure begin? Join the Federation and become part of a mission to traverse to the skies. You can help our humanitarian missions and you can help our disaster response units. In a world where political discourse has left a void in our world's ability to help hurricane and other natural disaster victims, it's the role of the Federation to stand tall and make a difference. Shop the Federation Promenade and make your donation at trekfederation.com today.
Get smoked by J-Pound.
Before you rush, you need to flush. What? What I mean is, before you start your normal daily routine, wake up to a tall drink of water. That first glass will help flush out whatever toxins that settled in overnight and wakes up your organs. It's also better than a cup of coffee to shake off grogginess and get you energized right off the bat. Help kick your metabolism into gear and start the day hydrated. And while we're on the subject, starting the day with a glass of water also helps you feel full so you won't rush to the donuts as soon as you step inside the office. Stay hydrated, stay healthy, and remember, there can't be smoke without fire, so let's light it up.
Go to Smoke Show Fitness on Facebook or contact Smoke Show Fitness for personalized nutrition and fitness coaching. 405-240-1807.
I'm so glad that you wrote it down to remind me. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, and patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, and patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control.
A lot
Well, a number of years ago,
you care, and they just need to know that you care. Because it'd be awful
Right.
living
Number
with
of-
not knowing somebody cares about me, And I've got a good family.
number of
I'm
years
blessed.
ago, my wife is a huge baker come Christmas. I mean, like 10 different sorts of cookies and, other goodies and everything, which I probably shouldn't have. Anyhow, we were supposed to meet somebody in church. We had a huge platter of homemade cookies and goodies in this car, this huge platter, and we didn't meet up with them at church. So we were heading home, and I said, I want to get fuel tonight so I don't have to get it, in the morning when I head back to work. So we got fuel, and I thought, what, I'm going to get car wash because the car was filthy. Our little Arco had the built-in car wash, so got a ticket out and driving around back, and there were two homeless men there.
Yeah.
And so they were ready for when we came up to the car wash, to ask for, and I said, you know what, we don't have any cash on it, but what we do have, and we handed them, I said, you guys like this platter, it's home-baked stuff, so, I don't know how you feel about taking, and their eyes got big as like plates, and this was like, this is home-baked? And we're like, yeah. And they're like, do you know how many years it's been since we've had home-baked anything? And they took the platter and they were like, this is the best gift we've gotten this whole season. Never saw him again or whatever, but
The kindness, that's good.
that kindness, just a God bless, and never knew what happened to him or anything else, which is sad, but that's a lot of times that, and I've told my son this too with charity, is you can't steer people's life for them. You can give them grace and kindness when you meet them, but you can't rescue everybody.
You can plant the seed. That's all we can do.
Yep.
That is all we can do. I mean, it's just like go back to the garden. I plant all my stuff in the garden, but that's where
that's where my job leads on.
Probably a little harder for our friend from California there to grow in the garden than it is for you in Kentucky, I imagine.
It would depend.
You know what the problem is here in the desert is? The only way it's getting water is if I water it. And so I've got the whole garden set up on a drip system. And you can bet here in the Mojave that water is priced about the same as like gold. So
I imagine.
Wow.
They really rip it out of you when you water things and overwater, and
I would be lost without my garden.
Yeah. I didn't have one last year, and it was probably the worst mistake I made. I missed that the whole long summer.
Well, my wife will tell you I overdo everything, but I can't help it.
So do I, and I take bags of produce to work.
I wish I was home more so I could garden again.
Well, I'll be on the road all week for all summer, but I'll be home on the weekends. But I've got to go to Illinois to put in some elevators, and so I'll be gone all week. I'd rather chew my toenails off, but I've got to go. You got to feed them.
Yep.
Which they're going to come with me some because kids are out for school.
There you go.
I'm blessed with a very good employer.
Well, we still got a couple of things left on here. The wonderful Greek word pistos, trusty, faithful.
Talking about our relationship with ourselves, huh?
We're faithfulness is that would be the pistos, and I might be wrong, but the best way that I can think about it would be as in similar terms as if you were the executor of an estate. Whenever you're going through doing your duties, you're supposed to be doing them to best fit the situation and everyone involved.
Right.
Not play favorites, not just get it done, not try to make nice all the way across the board. You're doing your due diligence with as much duty and dependability that you can.
All right. I have a little plaque up here on the wall with a cross on it. It's actually a cross made out of nails. But it said, "Faith is seeing light with your heart when darkness is all that your eyes see." That's I think that kind of like speaks back to what you, Terry, were saying, is that, you can't steal your joy. I think it was Alexander Soyskian who wrote the Gulag Archipelago, who spent a number of years in Russian gulags and just the torture that went on there. And when he got out and he was asked by the world, why did this happen? He said, because we forgot God. But even when you look at Richard Wurmbrand, who started, the
Sybil's
martyrs,
wife.
right?
Yes.
He said, it got to the point to where the beating and the torturing didn't matter because what we were doing, joy far exceeded that, and it couldn't be taken from that.
Oh, yeah.
We were strictly forbidden in communist prison, he said, to proselytize, because they told us we'd be beaten if we did. And so we proselytized and they beat us. And he said the jailers were happy and we were happy. So it all worked out.
He has an amazing testimony, that man.
Yeah.
And his wife does as well.
Yeah. But I mean, I think so. Faithfulness is continually seeing that spark of Christ. And there are times, let's face it, in all of our lives where it gets just really dim. And as long as you keep grasping and seeing at that light, it never really goes out. I mean, the older I've gotten, the more irrelevant my circumstances are. They threaten me with bad politics, threaten me with taxes, threaten me with this, threaten me with that, threaten me with eating cricket paste or whatever other cockamamie
Sky prongs.
Thing you're going to throw at me, but I still have what matters.
Well, I keep thinking about the scripture where it says it's impossible to please God without faith, or, right. That's where I just keep going. My brain is just trained on that right now and of course, if you don't believe him or believe in his promises, how could you please him?
Right.
I don't know. How would you explain the faith that you have to a non-believer?
Well, first off, I would let them know what I mean by faith, because with the whole, I guess, religious minutia and the way that people talk about things,
faith means blind belief.
Yeah, faith. People think faith is what you use whenever you lack evidence or don't have anything to go off of.
Right. And it's the exact opposite.
Exactly. Faith is actually trust and belief in something that you have reason to believe in.
Right.
Whenever you're going through something, and let's say you're an apprentice and you're learning something from your instructor, right? And then all of a sudden he says, "Hey, we're going to do this," and he looks at you and he has that snicker on his face, and he says, "Hold this right here and watch this." You got no clue what's coming up, right? But
right,
exactly.
Right.
You know to trust him because you're going to benefit from this. You have reason to trust this guy.
Right.
So something outstanding is getting ready to come up, right? Now that is different than whenever you're just, got a one-day instructor that you don't know from Adam, and he turns and does that to you, okay? Because you got no clue where he's coming from. You don't have the evidence and the reason to believe him. You don't have that experience or anything yet, which you do for your other instructor that you're apprenticing under.
Well, if you demonstrate the other fruit, the ones before faith, wouldn't it be easier for someone to believe that the faith you have is real if they saw the love, joy, peace, long suffering from you? Because they'd be like, how would you get that? We're talking about a lost and dying world. And if you are exhibiting the other fruit, and you get this at, and I'm like, because I have faith in my Jesus.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I think a lot of times in this context, faithfulness is talking about faithfulness on our part.
Yeah.
It's that when things are going crazy and you're still going, you know what? God's got this.
Faithfulness is just a reaction to faith. The Bible tells us what faith is. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, evidence of things not seen. Well, faith requires action, and that action is your faithfulness.
Right.
I mean, I can take my truck key and hold it all day long, and it's like, I believe this is going to start my truck, and this, that, and the other, right? But if I don't stick it in the hole and turn it, this truck ain't moving. And, faithfulness is kind of the same thing. It's living something that you believe. It's loyalty. It's trustworthiness. Like you said about the trainer, right? How can we be faithful? Different examples in our life. One, by telling the truth. Another way, your personal life. Take care of things that are supposed to be taken care of, like your bills or whatever. The way you behave at work to your boss or your bond servant or whatever is another way of being faithful, by not, calling out just because you want to go fishing that day, which goes back to the lying thing.
Yeah.
And then, but in our also personal, because this section deals about our relationship to ourselves, is our relationship with the Lord. How can you be faithful to the Lord?
The faith, it has to encompass at least two things. It's your trust and your obedience. Because if you're not going to act on the things that you were instructed and told that you're supposed to be doing, what good is your faith to begin with?
Yeah. Faith without works is dead.
Yeah. It's more than just believing.
Yeah.
So is that like praying for rain in the desert and not bringing your umbrella to work?
I think that's why a lot of Christians have such, we'll call it empty lives, is because they bought into the thing where belief is this like